And it really didn't collapse in 1989 in some sense, you know, like a huge machine like that doesn't fall apart all at once. It falls apart over time, and then at some point it just becomes unsustainable and topples. And you know, it's like they lost faith in their doctrine, and for good reason. You know that the system in Russia, the Soviet Union, which was a collection of states, an empire, and the system that Mao established in China, and the system that still exists in Korea as a remnant of the Cold War, and systems in Southeast Asia and in Africa, were all predicated on Marxist presuppositions, presuppositions that were utopian in nature and that posited a utopian future where property was held in common and everyone had enough and everyone was called upon to do what they could, right, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need, which is a lovely sentiment, and you can imagine how it would be attractive even intellectually, because of course other systems, all other systems, produce vast disparities in income. It's like a natural law. It's actually governed by, you can model it with a distribution called the Pareto Distribution, and the Pareto Distribution looks like this. It doesn't look like a normal distribution. A lot of you guys have been told about normal distributions and how many things follow a normal distribution, most things, but that's really a limited case. You can understand a Pareto distribution if you've all played Monopoly, I presume. At the beginning, everyone has the same amount of money. Will include property, the same amount of wealth. And then what happens as the game progresses, and really as a function of chance, I mean, I know you have to use your head a little bit in Monopoly, but the basic rule is just buy everything you can get your hands on and then trade meanly, something like that. So at the beginning everybody has the same amount, and then as you begin to play, if you had enough players, you would develop a normal distribution, because some people would win relatively consistently and some people would lose relatively consistently, and so the money starts to be distributed in a normal distribution. But the thing about money, and the thing about lots of things, is that zero is involved, and zero is a weird place, because if you're playing a trading game and you hit zero, then you're done. And it's very hard to recover from zero, and you know, it's really hard to recover. You know when you're doomed in Monopoly. You know, you can tell. You've got some resources, but there's going to be some crisis when you land on some hotel, and you're going to get wiped out. You know it. So there's a point at which you're headed for zero, even if you have something. You know, and you might be rescued by luck, but you know when you're doomed. So what happens is that as you continue to play Monopoly, more and more people stack up as zero, and fewer people have more and more money, and when the game is over, everyone has nothing except one person, and they have all of it. Now the funny thing about that is that in some sense that's how trading games work. You know, you might wonder why there is inequality in a society, and it's easy to consider that it's because the society is corrupt, and perhaps, you know, societies are somewhat or horribly corrupt. That's the variation. There's no society that's without its criminal element and fixed element. Anyways, trading games tend to produce a Pareto distribution, so that very many people have very little and a tiny minority have a tremendous amount. That's the 1% that you hear about, right? And you know, the thing about that 1% is that that's happened in every society that's ever been studied.